before we
Is
start?
it
If there's anything
just me, or is Josh going slightly robot? Like very, very slight.
I imagine, but since he's recording, it shouldn't matter, right? Because he
Okay,
won't be
yeah.
robot for
Yeah,
himself.
you'll just have my raw, delicious
Oh,
audio.
raw Josh, yes.
Raw Josh. Yeah, don't say that.
Josh.
That sounds a bit.
Are you recording? Have we got the podcast?
I am recording this, but I don't know if I want it in. Anyway, hello everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whenever it is you're listening to the podcast. Welcome again. It's a brand new week. Back to the Game FourCast. We're here to talk about all your favourite video game news and a little bit about what we've been playing this week. My name's BottlerWorks. I'm known as Josh in the real world. I'm here with my three best friends, as always. Olive Meister Will.
Hello, I'm Will. John Halo hangs dong in episode 3. Pass the word.
Quikwix Steve.
Ooh. Hi, I'm Quikwix, and I'm not that kind of orc.
And Sammeh.
Hi, I'm Sam, and I didn't get those past two jokes.
Why?
I thought about that one earlier, and I thought maybe that was too much of a deep cut for this podcast, but I went with it anyway. Fuck it.
Why is Master Chief hanging dong?
So we talked about Halo episode 1, and
Yeah.
I didn't like it. I think my feelings on that were pretty clear. Sometimes I worry I come off negative on the video games we talk about.
You're
Things
very
we talk
angry,
about in
man.
general. Yeah, I come off more negative than maybe I intend to. But fully did not like the first episode of Halo, and I was ready to write that whole series off and just be like, well, whatever. There's plenty of stuff to watch. I don't have to see that. But then I saw a picture the other day of Master Chief butt naked in that show.
And I was like, "Do this show, please."
Well, that's it. And I was like, okay, well, morbid fascination. I have to go and watch this now. Like, what is going on? And they, so I went back and watched episode 2 and 3. There's now 3 episodes out, and I got midway through episode 2, and I almost gave up. That was one of the worst hours of TV of my life. I think nothing happens. It's just people talking. It's unbelievably boring for a show like Halo. He shoots aliens and doesn't afraid of anything.
Yeah.
And all that happens is people talk to each other, and plot lines are progress. Plot lines that you don't care about, because no one seems to care about aliens in that show. They're all just arguing with each other. It's all just old people arguing with each other.
I was about to change the image on the screen to something more relevant for like Halo, but I think this picture of like scuffed Kermit the Frog making a weird face summarizes it quite nicely.
Pretty much, yeah.
You should put naked Master Chief on the screen, of course.
Could we? Yeah, could we?
No. If I Google naked Master Chief, a lot of other stuff is going to appear next to what I'm actually looking for.
Yeah. But what's funny is
he's got a whole folder for that anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah. So episode 2 sucked, and I was ready to give up on it there, but I was like, no, I'll push through. And then I watched episode 3, and I was like, oh no, do I kind of like this?
No.
So now I think, before I was like, I don't think this show is for anyone. And then I watched episode 2, and I was like, oh, this is a show for people who hate television. This is like, when you're like, I can't look away kind of thing.
Like
That's
a car
what
crash.
I had. Like a car crash. Yeah. And I was like, oh god, I can't look away. So I finished episode 2. That's how I felt after that. And then episode 3, they do some stuff. They bring back the voice actor for this is the final episode where they bring Cortana into the show.
Yeah.
And they get she looks just stupid as hell. She looks like, did you ever watch Ready Player One?
No, it's on my backlog of like things to watch.
Well, in that show, it's like they go to the metaverse, essentially.
Mark
And everyone
Zuckerberg's
has
metaverse.
Exactly. And everyone has these stupid avatars, and they all look really like Uncanny Valley, super uncomfortable, like anime kind of characters. And it's I didn't like that movie either. But so they bring in Cortana, and she looks super weird, and I thought that was stupid. But then she like talks, and she sounds like Cortana, and I was like, oh no, that's quite a nice dynamic. And she plays off of the guy playing Chief quite well, and I was like, oh, that's how they're gonna fucking get me, isn't it? Like, everything else about this show sucks, but the voice actress I think it's Jen Taylor is her name.
Oh, you're back in. You're back into the show. You're fully on board.
I was
again.
like, oh no, she's really good. So I think just purely off of that, she's going to do all the heavy lifting for that show, because everything else is still kind of bad. Master Chief gets naked. That was that happened. He does this whole journey of discovery where he's like walking around listening to music for the first time, and I'm like, what is this? I don't understand what this is.
Does Master Chief's dong have the helmet on the end as well? Like, is armored up?
That was the funniest thing about that was I told Erin, I was like, hey, look, Erin, Master Chief's naked, and she was like, what? But he keeps the helmet on. Which is just a really funny image. Like, he gets
he's just
naked, but he keeps the helmet
butt naked,
on.
but he's got the helmet on.
So yeah, maybe I don't completely hate that show. There's still a lot to not like. There's so many characters and plot lines that are just like, just go away. I just want to watch Master Chief hang out with the blue woman.
Hang out.
Oh, he's hanging out, all right. Damn, Steve got there first.
There's so many great jokes, like Master Cheeks. Saw that going around. Yeah, that's it. That's Halo.
So how long until they do?
I think I hate it, and also I kind of like it at the same time.
How long until we get a tie-in with the game where it's just showering Master Chief as a DLC skin?
Oh my god, $20 skin is just a butt naked guy. Yeah,
really makes teabagging a bit more.
That is true. Yeah, we didn't put it in the news, did we? But yeah, they announced season 2 for Halo Infinite. I'm not going to play it. Are any of you? None of you care. If I'm not playing it, none of you are. Yeah.
No, I was into it the most. I think out of everyone here.
That's true. Yeah, I forgot about that. You bought the season pass.
Yeah, and I can't see myself going back to it.
So really, you're to blame for where Halo's at.
Yeah. Oops, my bad.
These days.
Well, there we go. You got a little Master Chief discussion at the end, as is tradition.
I think I'm gonna keep watching it. Maybe I don't need to go week by week reporting on the Halo show. Because really, I don't think my feelings are gonna change. Although I went from hating it to really hating it to being like, oh, there might be something here. So
it might actually be good.
It might. Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
I'd say if you just like, you could just watch the recap for the first 2 episodes and then watch episode 3. And you'd probably have a better time than watching the first 2 episodes together.
It's the worst opening, but ends up being the best show of the year.
That's because it's like it makes it clear like this is different, right? But all of the things that are happening, I'm like, oh, I could see how they could bring this back around to be actually about Halo, right? Like they're not dealing with any of that stuff, the games or anything right now. But they might get there, and it might be cool. They've got the budget.
Put the flood.
There was some ship stuff in this one that looked awesome, and I was like, "Oh, I kind of like that." Yeah.
Most interesting bit about Halo is the flood, I think, because they look cool and they're creepy and they're scary.
And the flood done with a big budget could be because they die after 3 spoilers, so you don't really ever see them like big budget. So
yeah, that'd be really cool. I remember in the first Halo game, where you go down like underground or something and you first find the flood, and it's like, oh, really spooky. Oh, there's these weird alien things that explode and have little tentacles and stuff. I really like that. More of that, please. Well, I'm going to tying straight onto your TV, because this is a gaming podcast, but I'll get it out of the way earlier. I haven't played a lot of stuff this week, but I have watched something.
What'd you watch?
We try and guess.
You can try and guess, yeah.
I think you watched the Uncharted movie.
100%.
You tweeted it earlier this week.
You're so smart. You're so smart. Yeah, me and my partner went to see the Uncharted movie, and that is a fucking movie.
Hold on. You actually went to the cinema physically to buy tickets to go and see. What did the guy behind the counter say when you said you wanted 2 tickets to the Uncharted movie?
He looked at me and said, "Are you sure?"
Are you ready?
Yeah. And then he brought up on the screen, and I put, "Oh yeah, you know."
You had to sign a waiver.
Yeah. Please sign here, please.
I am in right mind, and I fully consent to watching the Uncharted movie.
What I will say is the cinema was surprisingly busy for a midweek like afternoon showing of Uncharted when it's been out for weeks. I was like, why is half the cinema full? Like, why is it still so busy? It's a fun enough movie. It's like an okay movie. It's a really bad adaptation. I think I kind of knew that, going into it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring
everyone knew that. Going into
it. I'm gonna bring up some background imagery so we can stare at.
There's Tom Holland.
How is Tom Holland as Nathan Drake?
So Tom Holland as Nathan Drake isn't actually that bad. I can kind of like I can buy him being like a younger Nathan Drake. He's at least got the looks for like a young Nathan Drake. It kind of throws me off how he sounds nothing like Drake, because Drake in all the games is he's like action star man, whereas Tom Holland might as well basically be like 13 years old. I think, but I can push that aside, right? I can believe that. The one thing that really gets to me is how horribly miscast Mark Wahlberg is as Sully. It is so bad. He doesn't look like Sully. He doesn't sound like Sully. He doesn't even act like Sully. He's basically just Mark Wahlberg in this movie. I can't stop seeing Mark Wahlberg.
It's been everything I've ever watched Mark Wahlberg in. He just plays Mark Wahlberg.
He's just Mark Wahlberg. Yeah.
He just shows up to set for a couple days. He doesn't even really know he's in a movie. He just sort of looks confused and mad about everything, and then catches his check. Yeah.
But so in the games, Sully is kind of cheeky. He's not always he's not nasty, but he's sometimes a bit of like an asshole, bit suave here and there. He's like, But Mark Wahlberg in this movie is just an asshole. He's just straight up an asshole. He's not kind in any way to Drake or the other characters until right at the end, which I think is supposed to be character development. But he's literally a dick in the whole movie.
So I have a question then.
Yeah.
Who would you want instead of Mark Wahlberg to play Sully? Is there any actor you think would be perfect for the role?
There's no one that really stands out, but I'm at the point where I think literally anyone could have been better.
J.K. Simmons.
Johansson?
Yeah, there was the actor for Jake. What's his name? Drum man, J.K. Simmons.
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah. Drum man, J.K. Simmons.
Wait,
that's his full name. Anyway, so I think I like I said, I enjoyed it. It does a lot of stuff the games do, where sort of physics and shit just go out the window, take a back seat, and it makes no sense. It rips a lot of stuff from the games as well, just like game set pieces.
Does it follow any one of the plots, or is it just?
It's just not really. Mishmash? It opens on the plane set piece, which I think is in Uncharted 3, where you're hanging out of a plane on a bunch of boxes and you jump.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
that was a big one from the third game. It has that. It has some of the clock bell stuff from Uncharted 4. It's the whole opening of him, his backstory as a kid is ripped from Uncharted 4 as well. There's lots of bits.
I thought this movie was him as a kid.
Well, that was the weird. That's the funniest bit, right? Is it shows Nathan Drake as a 10-year-old, and then it does that backstory where it's him and his brother getting separated. And I swear to God, it time skips and says 15 years later.
That's what I was gonna say.
And it fades, opacity fades from this kid to what's his name, Tom Holland, and it looks like he's he looks 3 years older, but it's 15 years later. I just realised as well, the whole thing about J.K. Simmons, that is his name, isn't it? I was thinking of JJ whatever from Spider-Man.
You really fucking threw me there. I thought I was crazy for a second. Yeah.
What's the Spider-Man guy called? The character in Spider-Man.
JJ something.
J.J. Abrams.
Right? I now want to say J.J. Abrams. Fuck.
Oh god.
That's what threw me off.
J. Jonah Jameson.
J. Jonah
that's his
Jameson.
name.
I thought, yeah. You say J.K. Simmons, I was like, yeah, that's the Spider-Man guy. What's his real name?
Yeah, you were like, yeah, the guy that plays J.K. Simmons. What's his name?
Yeah.
I was like, Jesus, I don't know. Is this conspiracy?
Yeah, they're gonna milk the shit out of this franchise. I can already see it. I think we said before,
Good movie.
it's entertaining.
I think
Yeah.
from speaking to people at my workplace and stuff who haven't played the games, this was just like a solid action movie.
There's
Yeah.
Like they went into
yeah.
it knowing it had like story from the game, but they didn't care about it, and it was like, oh, it's just a really good action movie.
Yeah, there are a few differences. It's because I've played all the games like multiple times, right? I know certain bits. They basically retcon how Drake and Sully meet. They now meet in a bar, and Nathan is like the barman, and that's not in any of the games to my knowledge. And there's like there's a fight scene later that involves him like doing bar stuff, and I'm like, why are they going so ham on this like bartender stuff? I don't know, it's really weird.
Because they need to make him look old enough, right?
If Tom Holland served me a beer in a bar, I'd ID him.
Are you old enough to sell me this drink? Yeah, it's a fun movie. It's like I say, the one thing they do is there's some like nods at the end for Mark Wahlberg as Sully, where he has like a mustache and a cigar, and it's like, why are you doing this now? What, just
what kind of tease is that? Like, here's how you wanted the character to look all along. Maybe next time.
It's like
they're holding him hostage.
It's literally a post credits bit where he suddenly has the mustache and a cigar, and Tom Holland says, "What's that thing on your face? You look ridiculous." So he looks like Sully a little bit for 30 seconds of the whole movie. Half the people had left by this point, because who waits for post-credits scene of Uncharted at the cinema?
Only you, yeah.
I only saw it because I was still putting my coat on. I was like, oh, okay, we just Avengers now.
That's really funny. That's the kind of post-credits thing I want to see, though. I don't want like trailers for the next movie. I just want the mustache reveal. That's that's perfect. Yeah.
Fun movie. I think I wouldn't go to the cinema out of your way to see it. We only went because we really fancied going to the cinema, and we didn't really want to watch Batman. We're not big into Batman.
It's good though. It's a real fucking shame because the new Batman is really good. And when I went to see it with Aaron, there was about 9 people in the whole cinema watching that film.
Laura was completely turned off the idea of seeing it as soon as I told her it was 3 hours long.
That's fair. That is fair. A lot of very slow motion shots of people walking in that film.
So, I had fun with it. I just want more games.
Do you recommend it for other people to watch?
Yes. No, don't go cinema, but see it when it comes out on Netflix or something.
Yeah,
that's sort of where I'm at with it.
Solid action film.
It reminded me of I completely forgot about it. Another movie I didn't watch was the Warcraft movie.
You didn't watch it?
No, because for whatever reason, this movie, like, just game movies, I was like, what has there been recently? I was like, oh, didn't Warcraft get a movie as well? I didn't see. Maybe I'll go back and start watching these really weird, jank game movies and start reviewing those every week.
I need to go back and watch. I watched the Warcraft movie once, and I'm like, I should watch it again. Probably.
Should
you? I don't think you need to. It's not very good.
I know, but I'm kind of like, in my mind, I'm flirting with the idea of like getting back into WoW, and I'm like, maybe.
You know what I did actually after watching the Halo TV show as a kind of like mouthwash, but for my brain. I went and watched I went and watched the like hour-long all of the Halo 2 anniversary remastered cutscenes back to back. So I was like, was Halo always bad? And I was like, no, it's not. No, it's fine. Halo was good. Just this show's bad.
It's just everything modern coming out of Halo is not
bad.
Good.
Yeah.
Did they have the cat ears in the TV show?
No, they don't. Although they do this. No, actually, no. That's not going to make sense to anyone but me.
What's the like the director's cut or the George Lucas cut of the old Star Wars movies where they changed Anakin to be the younger actor.
Oh,
they
yeah,
could
yeah.
retroactively change all the Halo cutscenes to give him the cat ears.
Add cat ears, yeah. What is funny is they just cut a bunch of content from the Halo 2 remastered cutscenes. There's this like the framing
Why?
for that remaster is it's being retold by one of the characters to the guy, the protagonist of Halo 5. So who's played by the guy who played what's his name? Bulletproof from Marvel, that Netflix show. I'm absolutely blanking on his name.
This is all over the place. What?
Yeah, I don't know where I'm going. Anyway, so they cut because the whole framing of this remaster thing is it's supposed to be as part of the Halo 5 story, which isn't actually in the Master Chief Collection. So if you're playing through the series for the first time, there's just suddenly these cutscenes out of nowhere that's like, who are these people? What are they talking about? So they just ripped all that out recently.
Aren't they trying to pretend that Halo 5 isn't real?
Weirdly, I think it's just in a really awkward spot where no one cares enough to bring it to the Master Chief Collection, because that would mean putting it on PC, and they just can't be bothered.
Can't be bothered. Yeah, I'll do it later.
Yeah, and nobody really liked it anyway. So
Halo in general just is in a weird place.
Yeah, it's a real.
Halo went from being like the most hyped, celebrated game coming out,
to like prestige,
to like, oh my god, look at Halo now, like writhing on the floor in pain.
Yeah,
with cat ears.
With cat ears. All right, I'm gonna scoot this along. Who's played some games this week? Who wants to jump in first?
I can, I guess.
Oh god, you sound so excited.
Ever since I played Elden Ring, and I'm still playing it, I've always thought like, other games just seem so boring still, since. But there is one game that I played today that I am like, it might be better than Elden Ring, and that is the Babylon's Fall demo. And I'm joking, by the way. No, it was dog shit.
Poor Babylon's Fall.
I was like, do you know what? I've got it downloaded. I said I'd play it last week and I didn't, so I loaded it up today. I loaded it up. The graphics looked terrible, and I'm not sure it's just for some reason my PC's not optimized for it or something. But I put it on like the highest like the lower settings and the higher settings, all looked the same. Graphics were bugging, and then I was like, okay, well, I'll make a character, and it said there's 4 races, and you have to pick which race you want. It says the skills you get will be unique to this race or this class or something, but it didn't tell you what they are. It was just like pick a race and you're stuck with it. And it was like,
right, you'd lock in before you even.
Yeah, you look in before you can see what those skills are. Yeah, it was like there was like I'm not sure. They all had different. There was 4 different ones.
Amateur hour.
Yeah, and so then I loaded in the game and it had like frame rate issues, and that's probably on my end because I know Elden Ring had something similar where the frame rate was awful until I fixed the setting outside of the game. So it's probably something similar with this one, but yeah, the frame rate was awful, and it was like literally nothing. It was I had to walk forwards and walk past these like flasks on the ground to collect them, kind of Mario style. But I was just like, what? It was. I was like, F4, done.
Wow.
I was like, if you want your mess of a game to be liked, like, I know my PC's not perfect, but I can play most things fine.
Don't even give it the courtesy of saving an exit. Just hard Alt F4 out of that game.
It's been a real long time since I did that to a game.
I was just like, if you want me to play your shit, make it at least a little bit appealing, you know? And again, it might be PC issues. Other people might have a better time with it, but
no, they won't.
I tried it, and it was just like, what the? And also, the annoying thing was, I had to sign up with my Square Enix account, and then it was like, so I had to do like 4 or 5 different like sign up sheets.
Oh no!
Sign up, log in with your Square Enix account. Do you want to link it to your Steam account? Yes, you know. And it's like, just let me try this.
Steve's so mad. I've never heard Steve this angry before.
Because it was like, come on, I was willing to give them the benefit of the doubt.
Let me play.
It just was not. I was like, nope, not having it.
They've got your email now too.
Oh shit! No, actually, I made sure specifically to not click the Please give me BattleWorks.
Oh, you're going to get all those emails that's like, come back, Hunter, the world is being overtaken.
Oh god.
Do you know somewhere in the who is it? The Squeenix like headquarters, there's a guy, he's sat in a server room and he's doing that like bouncing the ball against the wall kind of thing. Like he's really sat there, he's dejected, and then like he'll look up, there'll be this little like ding kind of noise, and they'll be like, "Sir, someone else is playing Babylon's Fall. Someone installed Babylon's Fall. Get in here. Get everyone, get in here. Who is this guy?"
It's me, but then no, I haven't uninstalled it yet because I'm like, I might try. I don't know why I'm a glutton for punishment, but I might try and get it.
You literally alt F4'd out of rage at how shit it was. You see yourself going back.
Well, no, it's just that I want to give it to try because I feel like it probably was issues on my end, like with my PC. So I'm like,
So you don't think this is a redemption story?
Not at the moment. No, not for me. No.
You can't see it being Game of the Year.
Oh, it might do, depending. Elden Ring is falling off a bit. Yeah. But yeah, so that was that, and then two smaller things I've played was I played Clicker Heroes because
he's in, boys.
I thought I should try an idle game before I shit on them, and
we gave you that little spoonful of crack last week,
and I am uninstalling it actually right as we speak.
No,
I play it every day. I log on, I upgrade my units. It's a nothing game.
Don't uninstall. Just leave it till tomorrow, and then your number will be bigger.
No, I'm not.
Go, Steve.
It's just so nothing. And then at some point, it's like, halfway through, it's like, do you want to continue or do you want to restart from the beginning with a little bit extra and it unlocks more features? I was like, well, I've got to do it at least once. And of course, it unlocks like a bunch more features. It's like, you kind of. Yeah. They're expecting you to like play halfway through and then just restart and play halfway through and restart and restart.
Yeah, that's the main
thing each time.
I hate
it. I'm getting hot and bothered. Oh yeah.
You're saying all the right things.
But literally, I would turn it on, do it like for 10 minutes, like for 5-10 minutes, turn it off again, and then even then it would still be like on my Discord. It would show us like, do you want to live stream Clicker Heroes? And I'm like, I'm not paying it. Why is it still showing that? Is it like literally a Bitcoin miner?
Can't let you do that, Steve.
Oh man.
Yeah, don't stop now. Sam's really close.
Not for me. Not for me. And the other game that I played was I played a little bit of Smite this week.
Oh, okay.
The old Smite.
Mm-hmm. I was playing with people who are Smite people. It's fun. I had to say, I have played Smite in the past. I do own the pack, which owns all heroes. I played Athena mostly, but it's weird how in other MOBAs when you like if you played League of Legends, you can for the most part play any other MOBA and be kind of fine. Like even Dota, I would say, is like the odd one out, and you can still kind of be fine. But in Smite, where it's 3D third person, it's a whole different set of skills you need.
It plays more like an action game, doesn't it? Like third person camera, like almost like a shooter, but without having to look up and down, just left and right aiming.
It's weird having to be like, because usually you got your whole screen and you're fine, but this one you actually have to be like, I need to watch my back and keep turning around every now and then to check that there's no one behind me because you've only got vision in front of you. But yeah, it's good. Apparently, it's still like alive and kicking, which I'm surprised at.
Yeah,
did anyone play as Optimus Prime?
No, I did not see an Optimus Prime. I did see a Ninja Turtle though, and I played back when they had the avatar pack, so I do have some like when I jump, I leave little faces of avatars on the floor.
So weird, so bizarre.
It is. And the skins in that game are crazy as well. Like you cannot tell what god you're playing with or against.
Well, it's kind of like all these sorts of games eventually hit that point, right? Where with every season pass, with every whatever, you have to get a bit crazier with your designs.
Yeah.
Until eventually it's absolutely mad, and everyone just looks like robots and aliens and.
It's like those screenshots of TF2 at launch compared to TF2
Yeah.
now, where everyone's crazy hats and effects and stuff. Yeah.
But Smite was fun. I could definitely see myself playing more of it. Because with me, I've always thought of Smite as it's like a not very new player friendly, because if an enemy god or if one god gets a couple kills early on, they can really stomp. They like really do snowball.
That's just MOBAs in general, right?
Yeah, but I felt that the hardest in Smite. Like if I was get a few kills, I'd be like, I'm unstoppable. Or if an enemy got a few kills, it'd be like, oh, now they're just absolutely nuking you down. But yeah, that.
I was just gonna say, it's one of the things I liked a lot about Heroes of the Storm and having like team XP.
Yes.
Is as opposed to one person just completely running away with it. The whole team is just slightly better.
I thought that was good and bad though, because it felt like
one member of your team is like, oh, they're having fun fighting, but if I don't stay in this bot lane and get all this EXP, we just fall behind.
Yeah.
Or like Zagara and just
like in League, if it's like, oh, this guy is fed, right? So we'll just not we'll either focus him or we'll just avoid him, right? And we can play around off of that. When it was like when it was like the whole team is just stronger, it just felt it was like, oh, we're playing the same game, except now my hero feels a bit shitter because it doesn't do as much damage and I can't kill anyone. Like,
I take it back entirely.
I think there was good points to it too. It was good and bad.
I retract my statement.
HOTS was easily the most fun to play with friends out of every MOBA. IMO. It was the easiest to just jump in and play and be like, well, I'm Jim Raynor, you're a probe. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I forgot the probe was in that game.
It's a
my
shame
boy Probius.
It's a shame because Heroes of the Storm, it was almost a good game. Like almost. If they just like tweaked some stuff to make it a little bit less casual in some areas.
No, they tried too hard to make it like this pro esport. And they shouldn't do more stuff like that. Was it Cho'Gal? The two players in one hero? Yeah, do more shit like that. That was fun as hell.
They had I think when I think back at MOBAs and fun characters, Heroes of the Storm by far to me had the most like weird innovative characters. You had like you're saying, was it Cho'Gath, whatever. He was the troll that two people were in one body. Is that right?
One was the legs, and one was the caster that just sling his spells around.
One was like a turret that just along for the ride.
There was the other one that was like an alien boy from StarCraft. Abathur. You would jump into your teammate's body and become like a turret.
Little hat.
Yeah, you have the little hat. So many cool things like that in there.
Murky. Deathwing was like literally a giant dragon who was played so differently because
Lost Vikings. You control three characters.
Oh yeah, that was a little bit. I think Dota has something similar to that.
Yeah, there was a character in that, but
now I want to play Heroes of the Storm. Damn it!
They started putting in their
still going, right?
They put in their OC like characters in, and it's like,
that was bullshit.
I'm not here for that.
Fuck that.
Yeah, I don't think they're adding any more characters because it's in maintenance.
I'm pretty sure that game is stopped.
Yeah, that game's done.
No, I keep seeing every now and then they do a patch for it because I see like patch notes and they're like, new Barak rework and stuff, and they are doing stuff. They're just
but I think they came out and said like, you know, as far as like big skin packs and new characters and stuff, like it's done. Basically.
I hope like if Microsoft be like, okay, actually no, there is something here. We're just going to put a bit more effort into it. Maybe I doubt it. I highly doubt it, but hopefully.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Suppose we'll see.
But that's what I've been playing this week, other than Conqueror's Blade, which I'm still madly in love with.
I always get so jealous when you tell me about your games every week. You're like, I've played this, I've played that, I've played this. I'm like, oh, I played Elden Ring for 2 hours.
I played Elden Rings for 2 hours.
I watched Uncharted and played 2 hours of Elden Ring. We all played. We did all play Core Keeper. That was fun.
Oh yeah, we played.
Oh yeah.
Bring that up quickly.
Did a couple of bosses.
I ain't got a whole lot to say about that personally, but we had a session of. Was there 8 of us in the end?
I think there was like 6.
6 or 7.
Because Erin cancelled, didn't she, at the last minute?
Oh
so.
yeah.
So I think it's 7.
I mean,
but
you both cancelled, and then you eventually turn up.
Wait, what are you talking about? Oh, right. Yeah, that's true. No, I didn't cancel. I just had a nap.
I think your words were
2-hour nap.
Your words were, "Sorry, I'm late. I ate a burger and went to sleep."
Okay, right, okay. But here's the thing, right? This is how I remember it. I sent a message because we'd said, "Oh, we're doing Core Keeper tonight." What was this, Friday?
Something like that, yeah.
And someone we'd floated the idea a bunch, and then it was getting to like. Let me get the chat up. No, I don't need evidence.
You went, what time we keepering?
I was like, what time are we? Yeah, I was like, what time are we core keepering? Like, expecting like, oh, late. I'm back at this time. I'm back at this time. And Josh just went, I'm around in like 20 minutes. And I was like, well, I'm about to eat, but that's fine. Yeah, I guess you guys can go. That's fine.
Yeah, but you didn't tell us that. You just
I was asleep by that
for 2 hours.
No. Dave replied quite quickly. You still couldn't reply.
Oh, it's fucking all coming out now, isn't
it? Will exposed.
On air breakup.
I was long gone by that point. I'd had my burger and I was asleep.
Yeah, but Core Keeper was fun. I would say this session I felt more it felt more fun with more players.
We did a lot more progression. Like this one compared to I wasn't in the last one, but you did like one boss last time, whereas we did 2.
We did a lot of house stuff in the first session.
Yeah.
In this one, I was just like, "Hey, should we just fight some bosses?"
Yeah.
Yeah, I've finished it now. So.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I think you might have. I stayed on a bit longer, and I think you left to go to bed because you had work or something. And yeah, I did.
I've got thoughts about that. Yeah, carry on.
Yeah, I did the next boss, which was the one that you've all got to do in a group still.
Mm-hmm.
And I did it, and I was like, okay, went back to base. Where can I find the next one? And I talked to the big, you can see it in the picture here, the big core on the right-hand side. It's like the big glowing thing.
Yeah.
He said it was something along the lines of the makers of the world are still trying to locate the next opponent or something. I don't know. But basically, shit's complete for now. Come back later.
Right.
I was really confused because I thought I'd read somewhere that there were 6 bosses in total. Mm-hmm. And there are, but 2 of them are optional secret ones that don't really do much. So
here's what happened, right?
Yeah.
We beat that boss, we explored a bit. It was like, oh yeah, let's finish. And then at least 2 to 3 people turned around and said, well, we should smelt this ore, so next time we play, we don't have to do it then. And I'm here like, I need to be up in like 7 hours. And we had brought back so much. We were there for an hour.
Yeah.
Smelting that ore, because it smelt so... And I was like, it's done. And I F4'd and I went to bed.
Your next session could be over within half an hour. So the fact that you've smelted all the ore, you've got, and that is like the end game ore, right? That's the best thing that's out in the game right now.
Scarlet, yeah.
You've done all that. You could make armor and weapons for everyone. Go do the last boss, and then that's kind of it. You could do automation and set up a bunch of drills for like the ore nodes and stuff.
Yeah. We're gonna we want to explore the stuff we can do. Obviously, we want to fight the boss.
As far as I'm concerned, that content is there, but I don't really see the point of doing it. I'd rather wait for like future patches and have more stuff to do next time I come back. Does that make sense?
I can't. Yeah. When there's an option for automation, I can't not.
The automation it's so bare bones.
Okay.
It's like you put down drills. You put down 2 conveyor belts to lead it to a furnace, and that's it. That's the automation. It's next to nothing. But I think, like I said,
we'll see
I wanted to get all the bosses done so that next time there's a patch, I can just hop straight in and just start doing new stuff.
Yeah.
That's also something to note is you could bring your character from your solo world into our multiplayer world as well.
I brought my strongman into your group, and he was stacked.
The funny thing is, though, is you weren't your numbers weren't crazy higher than ours.
No, it's
not like you walked in and was swinging around your sword dealing 10,000 damage while we were dealing like 7.
Yeah,
it was like we hit for 100, you hit for like maybe 200.
Well, the way I see it as is the bosses definitely scale to the number of people that are playing.
Yeah,
and it's like because the rest of you were balanced for the fights. There's 7 of us total. 1/7 of the group is slightly stronger, which isn't that much really.
So, yeah.
But yeah, so I'll go back when there's more patches for sure. I had a lot of fun playing this.
Yeah, this is the type of game where I can't wait for when it is fully finished, because when it is in that state, I'll play it from the start again, like Terraria.
See, I'm the opposite. I don't want to start from scratch. I want one character that can just keep going through all the content.
What I mean is like I will do the same, but once they put out the finished product, I want to do a playthrough. Like a complete playthrough, 1 to 100.
Oh, okay.
I'd like to see, because they might like rebalance early game stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
might be worth seeing. I have a kind of problem with that game, and I was trying to work out why I wasn't getting on board with this like I did with like Terraria, Minecraft, the other similar games we've played, and I think it's purely down to everything you do in this game is like built for form. And there's not much, built for function, and there's not much like form, except right at the end when someone handed me a big cannon and I went around terraforming the entire map, because you could do this thing where I shot it and then every wall in a line of about 20 just disintegrated. And that was fun. And it was like, it reminded me of like, in Terraria when you're like digging and then you accidentally hit a bit of wall and suddenly all this water starts flooding in, and you've got to like, and I was like, there wasn't really any like emergent stuff in this game, and everything is like, you don't build fun stuff. There's no option for building like interesting stuff. It's like you can build walls and doors.
Yes, there's no threat whatsoever.
Yeah. And I think that's what I'm missing from the game at the moment, because there wasn't like I remember when Erin built stuff in Terraria, and it would be like, I'm going to build this tree, right? And then she would put like vines on it and they would grow and look really cool. And I was like, there wasn't any of that so far in this game, which is like, maybe that, that's not what they're going for. But I want more stuff like that. I want to be like, I want like, I want to burn things. I want things to flood and, accidents to happen and things. And there wasn't really anything like that in the game at the moment.
Yeah, usually in these types of games, if the developers are being slow with updates, usually the modding community will like go crazy and like add like difficulty mods and all sorts.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes just some good mods gives the developers some direction.
They'll give them ideas as well. Really
popular.
Yeah, I think the game feels like it's got a lot of cool and interesting systems, but they're very skin deep. It's like
which makes sense.
Like you can do gardening, but there's like 4 things to grow, or you can do fishing, but there's no real point. You can catch like 5 fish. Like we were saying, there's automation, but for what purpose?
For what? Yeah.
So.
And it's like it's funny because it's like the combat stuff is all there. Like the boss fights we did were really fun, and there was hints of that, right? Because we did that one boss where that big grub like chased you down a tunnel, and then eventually he got mad, and then he started just like stomping around and bashing all the walls down and stuff. And I was like, oh, okay, now we're talking kind of, but it didn't really get any deeper than that. But yeah, I'd like to see more stuff like that. Like our buddy Chris had a great idea where he was like, well, we know where he's coming, so let's just dig a big trench in front of him to try and see if it like stops him. But
he doesn't care. Yeah,
he doesn't care. Yeah,
I found out that's a way to get infinite dirt in that game. Is you just dig up a bunch of dirt and then he runs it over and it just reappears. There you go for all you listeners. Life hack.
Because I need some more dirt because you robbed mine.
Oh, don't worry about it.
I created a lot of dirt when I destroyed all the walls up this year. There's like there's a bit to the north of our base now that's just like open fields. It's like you're playing like a completely different game. It's like a plane in Minecraft.
Yeah,
It's
just sell it to everyone as you were expanding the base. You know, you weren't a maniac with a bazooka. That's cool. We'll move on from this, but it's definitely one to keep an eye on, I think, in the future, like new patches and stuff. Who else has got anything else they want to talk about that they've played?
So I've basically just kind of like carried on playing games that I've played previous weeks. Played a little bit of Elden Ring. I'm still carrying on with my idle game, still going strong. But I have been looking into, and I'm about to start, so I haven't done it yet, so I'll talk about this next week as well. You know, some games have like modded randomizers.
Yeah.
The big one being like Zelda.
Yeah.
There is a modded randomizer for Final Fantasy IV called Free Enterprise, right? Where it takes all of like the cutscenes and the story parts out, and it gives you the airship at the start. It gives you 2 of the characters, and it gives you like a bingo card of like 7 objectives.
Yeah.
And then you have to complete those 7 objectives, and then you get an item that lets you fight the final boss.
Okay.
So you literally
that's cool.
Hop in the airship, and you have to go round to like where you would get key items in the story. You now have to go there to get a randomized key item so that you can unlock other areas to try and do your bingo card.
Oh, interesting.
And the whole thing is, the thing I've been watching is there's a big quotation mark. There's a decently sized and popular racing scene. Because the the racing scene, most runs end between 1 to 2 hours. And 2 hours is if like everything is in all the wrong places, because it randomizes where the bosses are as well. It's like this boss that can only punch people, well, we're going to put it at the end. But that spot has really high attack, so suddenly this normal bitch easy boss is now punching everyone for quad 9s. And
I was gonna say,
yeah,
go on. Oh no, I was gonna say, I think for randomizers, I think it's most Zelda games, most Pokemon games, some of the older Final Fantasy games, and some Mario games, like even Mario Odyssey. I think those 4 seem to be like the best randomizers about. So I've only played Zelda: A Link to the Past randomizer, but I do want to get into more randomizers. So you have to let me know about this one.
If
you send me a link,
like,
wink, wink.
When you watch a race, it's literally you just see people. You don't have to worry about sitting through cutscenes and loads of text. It's like, and they've made it so that there's an option to turn off random encounters as well. So you can turn on random encounters if you want to do a quick fight or 2 to get EXP. But otherwise, it's literally just like boss fight, key item. We're going here. I'm gonna loot this place and not get any encounters, and all the loot's randomized, so it's like you're trying to get like as much endgame loot as quickly as possible, and like it's just all the little strategy and the bingo ticks and like the risks of like, do I go here or there first?
Yeah,
and
that's a really cool idea.
How are you leveling up enough? How are you leveling up enough if you're just doing boss fights?
From what I understand, because here's the next cool thing I'll speak about in a sec, but they make it so. Normally in a JRPG, if you have 5 characters alive, the EXP is split 5 ways.
Yeah.
They've made it so that as long as you're alive, you get the full EXP for the fight. And then the more key items you have from all of your checks, the more EXP every fight gives. So it like ramps up. So like if you've done a couple of bad checks in a row, but you've now got the items, you're now going to go into the next boss fight and get a lot more out of it. Which will hopefully, like, it could then swing it back round in your favour. Because you're now going to have an easier time going forward.
That sounds really cool.
But the other thing, which is the next big thing, is like every month, they're like their Discord, their community, they switch up the rules, essentially. So it'll be like, okay, for this month, this character is no longer in. Like, no matter what randomize you get for this month, you now can't get this character. Or you now can't get this item. Or, like, this.
So it's like
boss-
mini leagues almost,
Yeah,
like in
yeah.
Diablo.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
RuneScape.
But this is I assume this is for a very specific community of this randomizer. I
Oh,
assume
yeah.
you can also just, if you want to play the randomizer
Yes,
bare
absolutely.
bones,
And
can
you
do.
can also take the randomizer and you can put your own parameters, whatever the
Seats.
works. It's not the word I was after. Yeah, you can put your own spin on it and do your own
Your own
style.
rule set. Yeah.
But yeah, it's just really cool how you can just be like, oh, okay, this is the one the community's doing for this month.
Yeah.
And then you're learning with them. You know?
I look forward to hearing you playing it and seeing what you think of it.
Yeah. It's like just from watching it over the past 2 weeks, I had learned enough about it that I could tell what all the secret parameters and hidden things were without actually knowing that they were things, because I was like, well, okay, there's only 4 party members instead of 5. And it's like, oh, well, people aren't ever going to this spot. Why don't they go and fight that boss? And it's like, it's because that boss has got a modifier on this month, so everyone's just avoiding there unless they really have to go there.
So that's cool. Do they not tell what the secrets are each month?
Oh,
that's cool as hell.
They do. It's just because I wasn't partaking in it. I wasn't
You were
part
just
of Discord,
an observer.
etc.
Okay,
I have just re-engineered the rule set by figuring it out by watching, and I think that has also made me more want to play it, because now I'm like, well, now I fully understand it. Now I want to see how weird and wacky it can get.
You've probably got 20 hours into this before you even touched it.
Yeah.
I have a question though. Is it? I assume it's not the Pixel remaster modded, but
it is the original SNES version.
So it is. So it's emulator.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I've got the remake on screen.
I was gonna say, if it's the Pixel remaster from Steam, I was like, make it easy. That's what I keep saying. I want Nintendo to see that they re-release their games. Well, this is Square, I guess, but they re-release their games so often that look at how randomizer communities are forming. Hire some of them and put the randomizer in your game.
Nintendo will never get behind any sort of randomizer.
Square might. Final Fantasy, get on it.
It's too niche. It's too niche.
Well, you say that, but Mario Maker happened, and that's incredibly. I would have said making Mario levels from scratch is niche, but that's a massive hit.
I guess.
I could see some kind of Zelda Zelda Maker or Metroid
that.
Maker.
There's been
Zelda one in the A Link to the Past. No, what was it called? The one that was out on Switch. I didn't get it.
Oh yeah, A Link to the Past remake.
A Link to the Past, yeah. And they had a bare bones dungeon one, but it wasn't that great in that one.
Yeah, people have been asking for a Zelda Maker game like Mario Maker for years, and they put in A Link to the Past. You got room tile sets, and because dungeons in that game are basically just square rooms with exits north, south, east, west.
Yeah.
You just put the tiles together and you could make a dungeon, but it was really limited, and people didn't really get on with it.
I didn't know that existed even.
It was the only new feature from that game, which is why I didn't buy it, because I like the original. I have it on 3DS. And it was this remake was it was updated graphics and that Zelda Maker, and it was not worth it for me.
I bought it because A Link to the Past is one of the best Zelda games.
Yeah.
So
I've completed it multiple times.
Yeah, it's a great game.
Yeah, I think it's a Nintendo-backed Zelda randomizer isn't impossible. I just think, of all the X makers they could have done, I wish they'd done Zelda.
I kind of feel like as well, the boat might have sailed, because if they were ever going to do it in a remake of a 2D Zelda game, top down, would have been the best place to do it, as opposed to Breath of the Wild 2. Where do you even start with a randomizer for that? That puts it in the player's control. Lets the player make levels.
I mean, it already looks like in Breath of the Wild that they used a randomizer to make all those 100 of the same dungeons, but it's just different.
Yeah, chalice dungeons in Breath of the Wild.
Yeah,
that's cool though. I've always thought if I wanted to get into a randomizer, I'd do like Resident Evil or something. I think that'd be a really fun one to do randomizer runs.
Skyrim, that could be fun.
Yeah, that must exist.
You don't really need any key items in Skyrim, do you? I don't remember.
Isn't Skyrim like? Are there randomizer Skyrim runs? Because
There must be.
I did.
Being like,
well, I did a Fallout New Vegas randomizer a little while back, and that was chaotic to say the least.
Yeah,
nothing made sense.
Yeah. If I can mod Skyrim to be Shrek going around hunting massive Thomas the Tank Engines,
yeah,
there's probably a randomizer mod somewhere.
Probably.
That's cool though. Like I said, I look forward to hearing what you think of it when you actually play it. You played anything else this week, or is that your major one?
That's kind of just been it.
Okay. Well, how about you, Will? Go on.
I guess it's up to me to take it home with two extremely exciting indie games.
You got this.
Neither of which I paid for. Actually, Aaron bought me the second one.
Pirate.
Yeah. So hashtag ad. I got sent a key for a game called Gladiator Guild Manager, and the whole time I was playing it, I was like, "This is right up Sam's alley. Sam would be all fucking over this game." What it is a kind of auto battling RPG in a way that kind of you play a little bit of it and you're like, that's stupid. Why hasn't anyone come up with this idea before now? Like, I haven't seen it anywhere. But essentially, you run a small. It's called a Gladiator Guild. You recruit units. They have a wage and stats, and they level up much like an auto battler. And then whenever you go into a fight, it'll present an arena like the one that Josh is showing in the picture, and you'll be on one side, and the enemy formation will be on the other side. And then you go like, you'll have a limit of like 5 guys, and it'll be like, okay, I want this tank guy up the front, and then I'll put a healer behind him and a couple range guys to do some damage. And that's basically the entire game. It's got a really cute art style. It reminds me of, like, I think I said to Aaron, it's like how you remember Flash games looking like.
I was going to say that. Yeah, it looks very Flash.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's got some really good. It's got some So it looks really good. The voice acting and the writing is like surprisingly good. It's not winning any Oscars, but I was like, it had some jokes in there that like actually got a chuckle out of me, which games don't really do that anymore. It had some fun. It had some like surprising little side quests. There was one. This guy did like a throwaway joke. It was like some necromancer. There's like this reputation system. And there was this like one necromancer who was like, "Oh, we're gonna raid this cemetery. Help us get rid of all the peasants in the way." And I was like, "Yep, sure thing, boss." So we did that. And then he was like, "Oh, silly me, it's a pet cemetery." And it's like, "Oh, very clever." But then there was all these dialogue options where I was like, "Oh, so we could get undead pets?" And he was like, "I guess." And then I was like, "What if we sold those?" And he was like, "Yeah, okay." And then I started up an undead pet shop where I sold pets, and it gave me a little bit of income every month.
And
I was like,
weird.
This is great. I was like, this is really great. This is really funny. It's got a surprising amount of depth in the like stats and like unit compositions that you can make. It'll have like every single character has a bunch of different moves and perks and things, and then you can hover over all the different bits of those moves to see like, so be like, oh, here's the cooldown, and if you invest points in agility, it'll lower the cooldown, but if you want more damage, he's going to need some strength, that kind of thing. And so you can really like you can really like break the game, but like in a fun way. Like I found this unit early on who was like, he does a little AoE fear and some damage, right? And he's supposed to be this tank, so he can like run in, target a guy and then fear everyone around him, sort of thing. But I was like, well, if I just take this tank character and buff all his intelligence stats, he just runs in and explodes and everyone dies. And the game was like, yeah, sure, yeah, why not? Yeah, you do that, go nuts.
Nice.
And I really respect a game that just lets you just mess with it, like on that kind of level. It's the same thing as like the Flash game stuff, right? Where it's like this isn't balanced very well, but it's like kind of fun because of it almost. But yeah, that's basically it. Yeah,
that sounds
is
interesting.
This game completely single player, or is there like a multiplayer aspect to it?
It's just single player, and I will say it feels like it could do some multiplayer stuff, but I don't know if that's in their scope. I know it was a Kickstarter originally.
Is it early access?
Yes, it is currently, and it does sort of run out of like new things to show you before you're done with it, almost. Yeah. If that makes sense. Like after a while, like you hit some of these big boss fights and stuff, and you're like, neat, and then it just keeps going, and you have to do all these like championships where you have to win a bunch of games in a row without dying and stuff, and it's like, it's got a really good base, and I'd like to see what they add next. There's also a bunch of extra modes, like there was like just a randomizer mode where it's like just make a comp and then see how long that lasts against like just go and go and go. So it's like, the guy he knows what he's doing. I don't think it's a big team.
It's definitely got that like Flash game Newgrounds vibe that you're talking about. For sure.
Yeah.
See, this almost has a hint of like idle game. Because now I'm an expert on them, of course.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But it looks like it's like there's enough there to make it not an actual fun game.
You were going to call it an actual game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it is. It's. I was like expecting this like little light auto battling thing, and I was like, the first time I opened a stat page and it said, this move does base 10 damage plus strength times 0.5 and agility times 0.3, and I was like, Sam would fucking love this game. Sam would min-max the shit out of this. And that's almost, there were a couple times where I was like, almost it felt too much, because it doesn't really give you any guidance in how to level any of your guys. So I was sort of like, I had my little spreadsheet out, and I was like, oh, okay, so if I give him stamina, he gets this, but if I focus all his points in health, does that change any? And I was like, I don't think I have the time for this. But it wasn't ever too difficult, which I was worried about. Like, I didn't feel like I statted anyone like wrong to the point where the game got really hard. There was only a couple fights I really had to like, go away and grind XP for a little bit. But thoroughly enjoyed that.
Lots of reviews saying it's really good, if a little short, which is basically what you were saying.
Yes,
there was some at the bottom. There was some reviews that were set. There was like 3-4 hours played. But it's a bit short.
Yeah, that's like I wanted to play more. I just felt like it didn't have enough new stuff to show me. Like, because there was like hints of some. There was like challenge levels where it was like, you have to beat this door down in 20 seconds, right? Or we're just gonna wipe your party.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, all right, little extra bits and pieces. That's kind of cool. But then it doesn't really do much like that. Like in that kind of vein, most of it is just you fight another team of people.
Certainly sounds. I'm not sure if it's for me personally, but like you say,
I don't think you get much out of this, to be honest.
Sounds like a Sam game for sure. You said you had 2 games. What was your second one?
So the second game, that was all I was going to talk about, because I haven't really had time to.
Before you move on, do you think this game would be good on mobile or not?
I think it would be a bit fiddly. There's a lot of small UI elements.
Look at that on the screen if you can see it. It's like,
yes,
imagine that on a mobile.
I was double checking if it was going to come out on mobile, or if it would be PC or console.
This screenshot would work, but the other stuff maybe not.
I think it would work on mobile. It would need some some of the UI would need a bit of
you have to change it.
But apart from that, no, it was good. It was like it's same kind of stuff. You have a bunch of items there, a bunch of consumables you can give to people. It was fun little stuff. And then the other game I was playing is a little game called Reventure.
Sounds like an anime.
No, it does sound kind of like an anime game, doesn't it? Like Reventure. Adventure, but re.
Re.
And Erin I was making breakfast this morning, and she said, "Have you opened Steam this morning?" And I was like, "That's a very loaded question. No, I've not." And then I did, and she'd gifted me this game. It's only I think it's like £1 at the moment.
£1.24.
Yeah, yeah, it's on sale for £1 right now.
For another 20 hours. So when you hear this, it's too late.
Oh no, that's a shame.
You should post that on Discord later, maybe.
I should. Yeah, I should. Yeah, you're right. That's a good shout, actually.
Do you recommend it, actually?
I for £1, absolutely. It's kind of a puzzle. It's kind of a puzzle like platformer almost.
Yeah.
But the puzzle is there's about it claims to have 100 endings, and the idea is you just find all of the endings, right? And so it's kind of a parody of like a Zelda-esque game.
I've played Flash games like this before. Is it the kind of thing where it's like you say it's got like 100 endings? There's a screenshot here of him like fishing or something, right? Is it like fall in the water and drown? Drown ending.
Yes, I had a eaten by piranhas ending in that pool in the screenshot.
Yeah.
So that's one of them. There was one where I went to get a drink, and when I came back, it was an ending for just staying in bed, because every day you wake up. And I played for about I've got 3 hours in it, and I think for the first hour I was kind of in like, it's neat, it's funny,
cool game.
But I was like, what a little pickup. It was a quid. It was like, I got more enjoyment out of it than like a sandwich, so it's pretty good.
Yeah.
And then in hour 2, I got kind of annoyed by it, because I would go to do stuff, and then it would like I'd trip over something, and that would be an ending. Like in one case, literally, I walked out of my house, tripped over a rock, and that was the ending. It was like 20 seconds total time, play time for that run.
Can you repeat endings by mistake?
Yes, you can. Yeah, you can.
Okay.
That one I couldn't. I think that was a joke throwaway one.
Yeah.
So then I was like, oh, that's kind of annoying. I had an idea of what I wanted to do, and then I would hit an ending like that, or there was one where I went up to a boulder that I wanted to blow up with a bomb, and instead of, because I knew there was something behind it that I wanted to get, and instead of using a bomb, I stabbed it, and stabbing it was an ending in that I stabbed the rock, and then the ending was, and then you had to go and work your job to pay damages to the family while this rock is in hospital. The family of this rock, and it was like a little cutscene of this rock in bed in hospital, surrounded by weeping other boulders. So it is all of it is like that's funny. I like all of that. There's some really fun stuff. I won't spoil too many, but there's some really fun stuff in there. But then in like this is like hour 3, there was some really clever stuff, because so it's like the whole time it's like the setup is it's Zelda, right? You wake up, you go to the castle, the king goes, "Oh, get the sword and rescue my daughter from the Dark Lord," or something. So it's like, okay. So the whole time I was like getting up, going through this mini platforming section to get this sword, and then I could go on and do whatever I wanted with my sword. But then one time I got the sword and I stabbed one of the guards at the castle with the sword by accident. I was just mashing the button as I was running, and I stabbed him, and that was an ending. Was like whatever, it was like
murder spree,
fuck the establishment ending or something. Like just and so they hung me or something, and then that was an ending. But then when I respawned, the guard was still dead, and the sword was just stuck in him. So from then on, I didn't have to go back and grab the sword. It was just there if I wanted it right at the start.
That's really clever.
Which is cool, right?
A shortcut.
Yeah, and there was other stuff like I found an item which let me essentially cheat death. So at any point I could like save at one of these statues, use this item on a statue, and then if I died and got an ending, it would play the ending cutscene and be like, congratulations, ending 52, shot out of a cannon and died. But then it would just be like, but you didn't want that death, so then it would rewind back to the statue, and then I could carry on. So it was that stuff as well. And then and the whole time you start as a guy. You can just call him whatever you want, but every time you die, the death has the potential to like not only affect the world, like with that sword guy, but it would affect your character as well. So, and sometimes it would be like, oh, died by a necromancer. So the next time I spawned, it's like, oh, you're a zombie now. Your guy is just a zombie, and you're called zombie, and everyone refers to you as zombie. But there's other ones where it's like, oh, I got crushed by an elevator, and now it's like, oh, but you reanimated as this bag of bones. So I'm just this little floppy, like little floppy man.
This game
that I
sounds
just
great.
Flop about everywhere. It's very self-aware. Yeah, it's very funny.
So is the point of the game to collect the endings or to avoid them as much as possible to get to like the true ending?
You want to collect. I don't know if there's a true ending. I'm gonna look up a guide after this and go and do the rest, because I did a bunch of ones, like easy ones that I could figure out, and then I did a couple that seem like they're quite rare, at least according to Steam achievements. And then there was somewhere it was like there's a puzzle here, and I can't bother to work it out, because the whole time you're trying to solve a puzzle, I would be like, so if I take this over here to this door, and then it would be like, except I tripped this lever and got crushed by a spike trap, and that's another ending. I'm like, fuck, now I gotta remember where I got all that stuff from.
It reminds me of there was a Flash game I remember playing a long time ago, and I can't remember what it was called, but it was about achievements. As opposed to endings, it was just achievements. And I think you played as like an elephant or something in a room. And it was platformer controls. And there's like spikes in a few areas, and there's a few blocks you can jump on. Oh my
god.
But yeah, you recognise it. But the idea was to like, every time you did something, you got an achievement. If you press, WASD to move. Each button press was an achievement. And then it was like, just jump, achievement. Jump twice, achievement. But then it was about like, and that sounds really boring, right? But then it was about using what limited stuff you had in this room. What could you do? Like, what like really niche thing could you do? Like jump off here.
Yeah, I kind of recognize. Yeah.
And that's what keeps coming to my head as you kind of talk about this. This sounds more elaborate, but I think I'd really enjoy this.
It is very simple. And I think that's its biggest strength. And it's just like, and there was some fun stuff like with multiple, I won't spoil anything, but like, multiple save files are involved. There are bits where it was opening web browser tabs on my other screen, which I was like, oh yeah, very good, very clever. It's got some surprisingly good writing. There was some laugh out loud moments, which I didn't expect. A lot of secrets, I imagine. I think I got about 40 of the 100 endings, but I wouldn't be surprised if there was actually more than 100. I think that's pretty much everything there is to say on that one.
I'm gonna buy this as soon as we finish today. I really want to play this. It sounds really cool.
Yeah, it's for a quid. It's even if you just play like an hour or so, and you're like, trip over rock and die ending, very funny.
Yeah, it's currently £1.24 until I think that's midday tomorrow, which would be
it'll be their weekend deal. But I'll put a post on Discord or something. Because very very funny.
Good stuff.
Very like surprisingly clever.
Yeah. What do you say, Sam?
The game you were thinking of called This Is the Only Level?
I think so, yeah, maybe something like that. Have a quick look. This is the only level. Yeah, Armor Games, there we go. Oh my god, you found it.
Okay, yeah.
Oh my god. It's almost like exactly as I was describing. It's an elephant in a room. And you got a whole bunch of different achievements for just like doing jump on the ceiling spikes, jump on the side spikes, jump from this platform, do in between these. Oh, it was weird. It was good though. It's very old now.
Oh, it was like finding how many different. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that's cool. I thought you were thinking of something else, but I can't find the thing I thought you were thinking of. So
there's quite a few games like this now, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, look at this. You can tell it's like 2 decades old anyway. Oh, that's cool. Should we get on to some news?
I think we should.
Let's look at some news. What's the first one we've got today? So we've got Disgruntled Kermit. We'll move on from that. Big one today, Kingdom Hearts 4.
Yes, it was announced a few hours ago.
There was an anniversary event today for Kingdom Hearts. It's 20th anniversary. They announced 2 mobile games. And
the one of them is their already mobile game is getting their final update, and then a new mobile game as well.
Oh, so one of them's already out?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know that. So what was the one that's already out? Is it the Union X something?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Much.
Kingdom Hearts 4. That's very big news. Who here has played all the other ones, or at least Kingdom Hearts 3?
I played 1, 2, and 3.
What do we think of them?
Which
says it all. Says it all, really.
That's a loaded question.
I think 1 and 2 are fantastic. I think maybe Dream Drop Distance can hold up as well, like one of the side games. I think 3 felt like, I'm not sure, there was no Final Fantasy in it at all. I haven't played the DLC for 3. Yeah. There's no Final Fantasy at all, and it felt like it was more about the Disney games looking pretty than it was any substance to them.
Yeah.
And then this new one, the trailer that they showed, it was like, oh, so so there was no Final Fantasy in Kingdom Hearts 3 really, and in this one it's like there's no Final Fantasy or Disney apparently because they showed real life.
Are you kidding me? That shit was straight up Final Fantasy 13 verses. Do you remember that?
So that trailer, for Kingdom Hearts 4, I was like, this looks like it should be in a Final Fantasy universe.
Yeah.
But it just looks great.
That's the only
boring
universe it suits. But I'm like,
they've gone for realistic Sora and characters in them.
Yeah,
like, no.
I'm gonna be real with you, Chief. I didn't like the trailer.
Yeah,
Kingdom Hearts 2 was basically a masterpiece. I love Kingdom Hearts 1. Kingdom Hearts 3 was okay.
Yeah,
that's and the trailer fills me with no confidence for Kingdom Hearts 4.
Okay, I don't know. I've dabbled, I guess. I've booted them up more than once, but I just couldn't tell you anything about Kingdom Hearts. Not really. I know about Keyblades. That's about it. But to me, that the like juxtaposition of these anime characters doing anime combat in what looked like just a suburb in Tokyo, looked so bizarre. I was like, this has to be a fake out, right?
I think it'll be a fake out.
Yeah, because it was like he wakes up and he's on this IKEA ass looking sofa, which is like one of the most ridiculously good looking sofas I've ever seen in a video game, right? I don't know if you haven't watched this trailer already, go and look at it just for the sofa tech alone. That stuff was out of this world.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just looked so normal and boring. I was like, this can't be real. This has to be like a fake out.
In every world that you go into in Kingdom Hearts games, you take somewhat of a form to, where you are, right? So if you go to Steamboat Willy Land, you become black and white, and you look like the characters from that. In this trailer, he has normal-sized feet. I think this is some like world based on something. I don't know. I think it'll be a level, and this is just it's like Tokyo zone. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's still
don't like it. Let me put it that.
Don't like it.
I don't like it.
They also teased the trailer. Voices were in Japanese, but they also teased at the end, without spoiling story, like a Disney character at the end. So
that's
like,
thing,
and
right?
Donald Goofy.
That's Goofy, Steve. Yeah, damn it.
in the Kingdom Hearts 3 trailer, I remember when they teased the Monsters Inc. world, and that was the peak height was Monsters Inc. Right? That's what I want.
Oh shit, Monsters Inc. Oh fuck.
Realistic world they might go to. I don't give a crap. He looks like he should be in FF15.
Yeah,
that's what this world is based on.
Some of the shots at the beginning of that slideshow, Josh is clicking through, and some of the shots in this trailer is like when Unreal does a tech demo, right? And they're like, "Look at this fucking tree stump! Look how realistic this shit is! Look at the moss texture on that tree stump!
Look at this fucking sofa!"
I was like, "What is this? What am I looking at?" But yeah, it's like, look at that lamppost. How badass that lamppost looks.
This screenshot here where it's a world full of life and it's just a grey like suburbia.
Yeah. I'd say with Kingdom Hearts, they always seem to miss the mark of like the best part about Kingdom Hearts is the collaborations, like what characters, what worlds and stuff. And Kingdom Hearts seems to be so hyper focused on their convoluted bullshit story that they're like the ending of Kingdom Hearts 3 is literally in this dull world with all the characters from all the games, and it's like, no, where's Elsa? Where's for Kingdom Hearts 4? I just want to see like, is Moana in there? Is Encanto in there? Like, is Final Fantasy VII in there somewhere?
So the end of Kingdom Hearts 3, haven't they basically wrapped up all the bullshit of all the other games? Don't they?
Most part, yeah.
So I'm kind of excited, I guess more than anything else, that we can kind of move on from all the confusing shit and just have like a new start. Kind of.
It seems more confusing.
What's confusing about it? All they've shown is Sora in a Tokyo land.
Because it's like, why?
Like it's Steve. It's Kingdom Hearts. There will be Disney stuff. Like,
and hopefully Final Fantasy stuff this time.
They're not going to go like, oh yeah, this series we have Kingdom Hearts where we have 15 games that all interact with Disney stuff. We're going to release Kingdom Hearts 4, a named game, and it's just going to be set in realistic Tokyo.
I know what this is. This is the reboot of Kingdom Hearts where they're doing like all the Disney remakes where like, Cinderella gets a real life version and that's what they're doing.
Oh god.
It's going to be the real life Lion King.
Cinderella's like a TikTok influencer.
Oh my!
Oh, I think we can't go down that path. We'll kill Sam.
Is there a real chance that this is them in the real world and they're going to visit the actual developers of Kingdom Hearts to get them to change the ending of of the last trilogy?
Get super meta with it.
Or it goes in, it's like, even I don't understand this shit. Please rewrite it.
I think there's of like a similar vein to that. I think there's like I think it's Spider-Man comics where he meets the person above God, and it's the artist, and he talks.
Of course, he's above God.
Yeah,
I watched a YouTube video on this. No joke. Like 2 days ago, I watched a YouTube video.
You might be watching the same guy.
Stan Lee is like a character in Marvel. Yeah,
you might be watching the same YouTube videos I've just started watching.
Probably they've just started being recommended all over my feed. So
yeah,
someone's pulled some strings there. Yeah,
I still think this is just a world.
Oh, absolutely. This is a piss poor world to choose for Kingdom Hearts fans. It's a great world to try and show off a tech demo.
I was going to say, this is to show graphical
fidelity. From a Kingdom Hearts point of view, this is piss poor.
This is 100% to show off graphical fidelity. There'll be a trailer later where he's fucking hanging out with what's the skeleton movie where they're all
Jack Skellington.
No, the other one. No.
Coco.
Coco. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah,
they'll do that later. It'll happen. You'll get.
I will say that if they had just come out with this like Final Fantasy trailer, except also maybe there's Moana or something, I wouldn't have cared. I probably wouldn't even have finished the trailer. But this was so bizarre. I remember it. You know what I mean? Like, no. There's absolutely no way, because I'm not going back and playing the other three. No
They're
chance.
all on Epic Game Store.
Yeah, but I'm not going to do it. For like Aaron bought the remastered trilogy. Fuck.
They're like 150 quid to play all of them. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
you know you'll be there like requesting a key in a second and be like, oh well, I got it for free.
Let me check if I can.
Don't forget to play the Nokia. Don't forget to play the Nokia N-Gage version of the game. That's really important to the lore. I'm only half joking, by the way.
But yeah, I don't care. I wouldn't care, but I was like, this is so weird. I'm gonna remember that trailer just because of how fucking bizarre it was.
I'm excited just for something different. I really didn't like Kingdom Hearts 3 to the point where I would argue it's a bad game.
It was certainly not a bad game.
I thought the combat was weak. I thought the cameos and tie-ins from Disney were weak. Yeah.
I'm not going to try and preach and tell people it was a good game, but
fight.
There's a line.
We're about to cross that line.
You're in danger of crossing it, Josh. Yeah.
Kingdom Hearts games, I'm excited to go back and play. Like, I like going back and playing like 1 and 2 and some of the spin-offs. Kingdom Hearts 3, I'm not even interested in buying the DLC for that game, and that's like finished. I'll probably buy it before Kingdom Hearts 4, the DLC, but I'm not interested in going back and playing it.
There's DLC.
I know that
there's
DLC for Kingdom Hearts. Yeah.
What is the DLC?
Story.
Is it no cameos or tie-ins?
They add in some of the Final Fantasy characters from Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2. Leon, Yuffie, Aeris.
Where were they in the main game?
Exactly. They weren't there.
They specifically put no Final Fantasy characters in Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah, that annoyed me. That's why it's a bad game as well.
They added a selfie camera, though, to Kingdom Hearts 3. You know, so you can take selfies.
I just remember playing Kingdom Hearts 3. It looked really nice. I'll give it that. It was a good looking game. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of the Disney characters, I might be misremembering, but they don't use the original voice actors, right? For a lot of them, or do they?
Remember. They sound close enough that I.
When you just said that, I just had flashbacks to Chie from Persona 4.
Wait, why?
Because in Persona 4 Golden, Chie has a different
voice
they
changed her voice, didn't they? Yeah.
And while it was still a good rendition, it wasn't the original, so I hated it.
Not the one I fell in love with. Anyway, that's a different conversation.
Yeah, sorry about
that. I remember, again, I might be misremembering, but I think Sully and Mike Wazowski sounded different. I don't know, maybe I'm forgetting. But I just remember playing that game. It wasn't very fun, and it got to a point where I know it's Kingdom Hearts, right? But I was towards the end, and I was like, "What the fuck is going on? I don't understand anything that's happening." There's characters coming back, and it's like shock moments. It's like I don't know who you are.
Yeah.
I watched like an 8-hour-long lore video before playing this game. I still don't even know what's going on.
I actually, in the final world, got so bored I put it down, and it was like a month or two later, my brother forced me in a way to finish it just so I could finish it.
You should just pull the will, get to the final dungeon, and then just watch.
Yeah, watch the last cutscene. It's more efficient that way.
But I specifically I've played Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2. I finished them, and before playing Kingdom Hearts 3, I watched so many videos of plot summaries. This, blah blah explained everything you need to know before you play Kingdom Hearts 3. I really tried, and it's so stupid.
So is Star Wars in this? Is Marvel in this?
It should be.
Star Wars was a buzzword going around in some of the articles.
Yeah,
but it's why it's it's a Disney game. Disney own what 1/5 of the world at this point. This should be the fucking Smash Bros of RPGs.
Yes,
but it's not.
That's where they shine, and they're like, no, but we need to have this character reincarnated 17 times.
Yeah, it's always Cinderella, Lion King, blah blah blah. My teammates should be Spider-Man and Darth Vader, and I should be fighting just a whole bunch of other Disney products. I should be fighting Peter Griffin as a final boss or something.
I do think it's funny how on the surface of it, it's Final Fantasy cross Disney, right? And it's it should be. I was gonna say goofy, but not like that. But it should be super goofy. It should, all these it should tell completely
seriously.
Yeah, it shouldn't take itself seriously. Yeah. It should have fun with all these characters that people love, and I think it's really funny that it gets so up its own ass with its lore in the parts that, as an outsider, I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah, it's like you said.
How does anyone get into this?
It's like you say, like it should be the most goofiest crossover game ever, but then you have the fucking like Wizard Merlin come out and go, right, I'm going to explain Keyblades now for 45 minutes. Everyone shut the fuck up and listen. It's like, no, that's not why I'm here.
If they do put Star Wars in, I guarantee there'll be like a 10-minute cutscene about why Go on.
Sorry.
I was gonna say why they can have fights with lightsabers and those swords, and they're not, why you can't cut through a sword with a lightsaber.
I need to bring up that when I was round Steve's brother's house on Saturday, me and the 3 people I was there with, we talked about Star Wars and the depiction between video games and lore for nearly an hour and a half. Because one of our friends really likes Palpatine.
Yeah.
Just like as a character, and in the lore he can like break planets apart with his like the Force, and then he's like, but in the movies he gets undone by a man who picks him up and throws him down a hole.
Palpatine's a fucking meme lord in that prequel trilogy.
Now I want a lightsaber Keyblade skin.
Oh yeah, it's another no.
Well,
it's a no-brainer.
One of the cutscenes, don't they like Sora runs up a sliding, a slanted building, and an evil guy runs down, and he's wielding 2 red lightsabers as weapons.
Was he? I need to watch this trailer again.
Yeah, I have to go back and look at the trailer later.
Not in this trailer. I mean that's for Kingdom Hearts 3. I think that was for.
Oh.
Or 2. Like, this has already happened.
Oh, God.
I know that as far as like...
Let's Google lightsaber in Kingdom Hearts.
Well, you've got this tech demo is very good visually, but the gameplay stuff I don't think is anything crazy impressive. They were showing like people running down corridors and this, that, and the other, all the way back in the tech demos for Final Fantasy 15.
Well, yeah, this game, it felt like Kingdom Hearts 3, where it felt like it was impressive to look at, but it just like very surface fluff. Like there was a lot of like running around, like running up buildings, but it didn't add to the gameplay much. You're just like, oh look, it's like a fun little scene that you do once, and then it's over.
Yeah, I'll retract my statement about the combat being bad. I think for me, it's just I don't like it. It's just really floaty, and it kind of feels a bit loose, I guess.
It feels like a spectacle fighter almost, where it's like lots of stuff is happening, and I sort of have some control over it, but not like it's not like Dark Souls. It's not like I'm precisely dodge rolling and shit like that.
Yeah, it just feels a bit too floaty.
It always reminds me when I saw the stuff in this trailer. It reminds me of there's a boss in Final Fantasy 15. It's Leviathan. I don't know if anyone remembers it.
Yeah, it's the big water twister dragon.
Yeah, it's a huge, giant, size of a city water dragon, and you fight it. But you sort of fight it, but mostly what you do is press one button like a couple times, and that's the whole fight.
You kite around it in a circle and just
and shoot it with a laser. Yeah, that's basically the whole fight. Yeah.
I had like erased that from my memory. And you just bringing it up is just like, oh yeah, I remember all that. Yeah,
I remember a surprising amount of Final Fantasy 15. I don't really know why.
It's slightly different, but it brings my head to like Final Fantasy 14, where I know it's an MMO, so it's different. But you have like really hard fights, but then they will have like really like often during the middle of fights, you have like these really amazing showpieces where it is literally just like spamming one button or something. But that adds to it, but you've also got the difficulty of the fights as well. Whereas Kingdom Hearts 3, at least, and this one looks to be sort of similar, was mostly just like, oh, it's just showpiece after showpiece. There wasn't any difficulty to it.
Well, again, this is, as far as this trailer goes, it's just a tech demo, right? There is, you can see on screen, if you're watching, there's a screenshot with a command thing in the bottom left and like health UI in the bottom right. None of this is actual gameplay. 100%.
Yeah.
This is just like, it's a scripted, pre-rendered thing, which I'm sure is either running on actual hardware or made to represent what the game's going to look like. But I don't believe this is actual gameplay.
Oh, we'll see.
I saw a thing on Reddit. Some guy posted that
must be true then.
No, it's factual, Sam. Shut up. He said between the release of the first trailer for Kingdom Hearts 3 and the actual release of the game was 6 years. So.
So we got a long ass time.
Well, it depends, right? Because maybe they've got
a lot of side games in between.
Yeah, the pipeline might be better. Whatever. This is running on Unreal Engine 4, but they've said they're transitioning to Unreal Engine 5. Which again might make it look better, might make it look the same. I don't know. I just don't think this is running on. I don't think this is actual gameplay. Is what I'll say. Yeah.
No, I think you're right.
Yeah, I don't really have anything else to say on it.
Wow, we talked a lot about Kingdom Hearts there, huh?
I'm still trying to find the dual lightsaber scene. I know it exists.
You dreamt it, Sam. I'm so sorry you dreamt it. All right, let's move on from Kingdom Hearts.
Okay.
We've got. I don't want to go too much into it because I feel like there's still going to be a massive discussion when a trailer eventually drops. But it's looking more and more likely that we know at least what the next World of Warcraft expansion is called and going to be about, roughly.
Yeah. It's got. They leaked it themselves on their own website somehow.
So it's called.
Is it WoW 2?
It's. I fucking wish. It's World of Warcraft DragonFlight. That's kind of all we know so far. You can kind of, you can extrapolate from that, right? It's going to be about dragons and stuff. There's so besides what's leaked, there's other stuff tied to it that I think were rumors, but they're looking more and more confirmed now, I guess.
Yeah. I think it was on MMO Champion a few months ago. They were like, "Oh, the expansion's called World of Warcraft Dragonflight, and here's a bunch of features."
Yeah.
And now people are bringing that back up, being like, "Oh, maybe this could be true." So.
Yeah, I think it was from what I remember. I'm going to go from what I remember because I don't think it's on this article. No. It's 6 new zones, 2 of which are remakes, I think.
Yeah.
There's 4. So there's not 4 new classes. Apparently, this is all strictly rumor territory because nothing's confirmed. But potentially, as opposed to 4 new classes, there's 4 new specs.
4 micro classes, which basically means they only have one spec. They
Yeah.
Can't do stuff. I've got the thing up. Now.
One was Tinkerer. One was what do you call a sand mage? Like Chrome mage. Chronomancer.
Minstrel and Dragon Knight.
Yeah, Minstrel and Dragon Knight.
And they were adding class skins as well, apparently in this leak. But all with a grain of salt.
Yeah, we'll see how it actually is. I do really hope it's good. Yeah,
we'll find out on the 19th, which will not be next podcast, but the podcast after.
But the one after.
Sam's posting his phone.
Sam
underestimated Sam power.
I'm not bringing that up.
No, that's for you guys. That's not for the viewers. Okay. That's for you guys. But I found him dual wielding lightsabers. I just want you to know.
Move on, Sam. We've moved on from that.
Who's this guy?
I had to go and find a playthrough of a dude doing it, and he's just talking over it.
Sorry,
I'm moving on from this. This is ridiculous. Yeah. Rainbow Six Mobile.
Oh boy,
the crowd goes mild.
The crowd goes mild.
I mean,
I hate mobile. I really do.
Have you tried any of the mobile shooters?
No.
Because
do you know what I use my mobile for? Spotify and my work rota.
That's a normie.
I thought you were going to say for phone calls.
No one called each other. It's 2022.
But I have. I think I played a couple rounds of like COD Mobile once, and
I played Fortnite Mobile with you guys back in the day. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
we were on a Skype, and I was like, haha, just for giggles, I'll play this next round on my phone, and it was awful.
Yeah, there is a big push these days to get your like big console shooters on mobile because they're massive in certain countries. Like PUBG Mobile is just like crazy in India and like other countries, and you've got there's Call of Duty Mobile, which like whether you love it or hate it is also enormous.
Yeah.
It's just.
I will say, for the trailer from this, it does look like not scaled back as I thought it would be, but it still is.
People forget that most mobile phones now, modern mobile phones, are more powerful than a Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
Like,
True.
Like, there's still this weird thing in the back of my head, like, oh, it's a mobile game, it's gonna look bad, but mobiles are fucking powerful now, man.
Yeah.
Like, you can get some gorgeous looking stuff on mobile, like Genshin Impact is on mobile. It's a mobile game, and that's a whole open world action RPG. I don't know. It's just
there's like, okay, so right off the bat, this is just for none of us, right? None of us are gonna play this.
I will play this.
Yeah.
You're gonna try it out?
I'll try it out. Yeah.
I guess
why not? It's gonna be a free. I assume it's gonna be free.
Well, yeah, it will have to be free.
I think yeah.
On the one hand, it's like an impressive technical feat, right, to get something like Rainbow Six, a game which has been criticized before for barely running on actual PCs. So to put that on mobile is like, this is impressive. But the like cynic in me is like, what a great place to put this in a spot where they can microtransaction it out the ass, and like, yeah, I don't know. I
Ubisoft are known to do.
Why this over a game made for mobile from the
ground up? They tried that. They tried that weird mobile game. It failed, didn't it?
But that was just a gacha game.
That's what mobile games are.
No, but like this is taking the place of something like actually interesting Rainbow Six style they could put on mobile.
Yeah, like
that's
like a unique own thing.
Yeah, like a I don't know, some fucking RTS mode or something. Like there's what are those games? There's a couple on Steam where it's like I think Frozen Synapse is the one I played, where it's like you'll have a team of people and you'll be like, okay, you go here, cover this doorway, you go here and cover this doorway, and then it's like, take cover and stuff. Your guy will be more accurate at shooting if he stood still, that kind of thing. And you plan it out like second by second, a turn, basically. Like that could be super cool as a mobile game based on the Rainbow. And you could still have their dumb Rainbow Six extended universe.
I'm gonna tell you why. Okay.
It won't make any money. Yeah,
that on top. Not that it won't make any money. It will make it considerably less compared to this, but also. This is also 10 times easier for them to make because it's made. It's Rainbow Six Siege. It's just on mobile.
Yes, I guess. Yeah. I think it's funny. There's a bit in that trailer that you linked where it said like made from the ground up for mobile or something like that, and it's like, no, it isn't. That's Siege. You didn't make this from the ground up for mobile. You just copied Siege.
It's from the ground up in the sense that I assume a lot of the assets will be a lot lower poly count. To compensate for the fact that it's on mobile. But like, from the ground up is not true, because from the ground up implies you're starting with a blank piece of paper and you're like, let's make a game. Yeah. Where it's not, it's just Siege.
or did they had all those mobile devs like locked away in a room and they kept coming up with shooters, and it's like, damn it, we just made Siege again. We can only make the one type of game.
Yeah, it's will say... No, go for it.
Sorry. I was going to say, to piggyback off this, Siege at the moment is doing pretty well with their new Year 7 season, and everyone should try it again, just saying.
I'll try it out on mobile.
Yeah. What phone is this going to run on when it's like Ubisoft and its classically massive games where they're like 90 gig for some reason? And every time they patch it's another 50 gig.
Yeah.
It's never going to fit on my phone.
The latest Apple phone only.
Play it on my Motorola Razr. my Nokia 3210.
Yeah, right. Fit right next to Snake.
I'm gonna play it.
I just want to say they keep trying to make these characters happen, and it sucks. None of them are characters.
I like the characters.
Did you see in this they specifically removed all the headgear from all the characters?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
you can get more attached to them and buy more skins for them.
Now I can get more attached to this bald bloke with a sledgehammer.
That's so stupid.
That's just me. I don't care about me.
I'm gonna buy you a sledgehammer
now. Sorry, Josh. You were doing a transition.
So coming off of that, more Ubisoft stuff. We weren't sure we were going to talk about this because Steve did the docket this week, but I thought there could be at least something interesting here. So Ghost Recon Breakpoint updates have stopped. They're now done with that. Which, who cares about Ghost Recon Breakpoint, right? But this is the game that they were tinkering with NFTs. So it's...
I didn't know that. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
this is the one that they started off with being like, we're putting NFTs in our Ubisoft game, in some of our Ubisoft games, and it's starting off with Ghost Recon. You can own, quote unquote, own a gun or something in this game.
Can I own a unique John Barenthal? Unique
know.
to me. He has to come to my house.
But it just... What's a John Barenthal?
It's Punisher. It's the guy who was in Breakpoint. Come on, it's like you don't even read these news stories.
I didn't do the docket this week. It was Steve, and this was one that didn't make the cut. So excuse me.
Am I the only one putting the work in around here?
Am I the only one around here?
I did the docket.
Yes, it raises the question of like, in a world where a lot of games now are just like throwaway if they're not successful, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the price that NFTs can be, which is sometimes quite expensive. Congrats, you spent a lot of money on a unique NFT item in a game that is dead, and that no one's gonna play or care.
I read a news story. There are games, NFT based games now, and there was a news story this week that I read. I only skimmed it because it's NFT shit, and I'm only in NFT shit for the drama at this point, But they shut down that, stopped development, and then instantly everything that people were putting real money into this game, all of it was immediately worthless, and it's like, well, yes.
I heard
also
that one.
Yep.
I heard that one, and there's also another one like a Pokemon clone NFT game, where apparently it got hacked and millions were stolen, and is just like, oh, now those NFTs are kind of worthless as well because it was hacked and people fucked with it.
Oh, so stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but isn't it kind of self-regulating at that point anyway? If a Breakpoint comes out with NFTs and no one plays it, then the NFTs aren't going to be worth anything. So
I guess so. Yeah, you could argue
in some ways. it's a decentralized market, I guess.
I guess it does kind of make sense for them to test NFTs and this weird shit in a game that is kind of dying and they're going to scrap soon anyway. Because then if it's 5
people still playing Breakpoint, going to kick up much of a fuss about NFTs in the game.
They have said, Ubisoft have said they are still going to put NFTs in more games though.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god, Ubisoft! If you're listening, you probably are. Just stop calling them NFTs and just don't put them on the blockchain. Just make digital items. Steam's been doing it.
Just do what Steam does, yeah. Anyway, that's that.
You can have your cake and eat it.
That's that one. We'll rapid fire some of these because I don't think there's a whole lot of discussion. But you've got this one's kind of cool. Max Payne 1 and 2 is getting remade.
Mm-hmm.
So, like a full remake,
like
not a remaster?
Full remake.
Yeah, cool.
I have never played Max Payne, so what's the game like?
They are third-person shooters with an emphasis on what's it called? Is it gun kata? Where it's like lots of slow motion diving.
Gun kata, one of the things from it's from Equilibrium, right? The movie.
I don't know.
I
kind of threw the word out, hoping that
someone
will be correct.
Someone will get that.
It's got
gun
bullet
kata
time, right?
Yes. Heavy emphasis on what's gun kata then?
I swear to you, it's from.
It's like gun fu. Yeah. It's kind of gun fu. It's lots of like diving over tables and doing flips.
You gotta
and
think
shit.
of the bullets as an extension of yourself, Josh. That's gun fu.
I am the bullet. Yeah. I don't remember Max Payne 1, but Max Payne 2 is really good. Max Payne 3 is also very good. You play as it's like the bald
Max Payne?
What's the guy? Heisenberg. The Heisenberg Max Payne.
It's like a walk-up, action hero kind of thing.
There you go. There's a screenshot there. That was a really good game. They're getting full remakes. So I'm very happy with that.
That's good.
Is it who's doing it?
I think it's still Remedy. Remedy and Rockstar.
Remedy and Rockstar.
Yeah.
Does that mean Sean Ashton's going to play every character?
Absolutely, yeah.
Is that Remedy? That's Remedy, right?
Sure, let's go with that. God, we're all over the place tonight.
Yeah, no, it is. Yeah.
And what else we got? Return to Monkey Island announced in 2022.
Excited for this one.
Yeah, lots of people are excited about this. I'm not part of that crowd. I never played the originals.
Never am I.
Yeah, same point and click, but people say it's one of the best point and click.
Yeah, I have not played them, but I know that Monkey Island is the point and click, right?
Yeah,
it's the one that everyone loves, everyone talks about. What's his name? It's like his name was Guy. It's there, Guybrush. He was the main character. You got that coming out. That's pretty cool. Unreal Engine 5. We were talking about it earlier with Kingdom Hearts 4. It's now officially launched for developers. I need to look into this because when they say it's officially launched for developers, I don't know if you can just tinker with it.
I've seen people making. I've seen on Twitter like there's already like some demos for like some stuff, and it's basically like they had their Unreal. Epic had a State of Unreal, and they said it's out now. Go nuts.
Yeah. No, Unreal Engine 4 was very cool to tinker with. I think at some point I'll boot this up and have a look around. A lot of stuff now with like Unity and Unreal Engine, you can still obviously like code, but they do lots of stuff now with like nodes, and it's what they call like blueprints and like blueprint developing. So it's like it's still obviously insanely hard, but it's easier than it's ever been to like try and get into this sort of thing, which I think is really good.
Yeah. I think them just being like, just fucking have it, just go make shit, whatever. Like,
I think it was Unreal where they did a thing where you can basically put out whatever you want. I think like what you make, and they only start taking royalties after you make like X amount of money.
Yeah, and it's really high too.
It's like 100. It was like $100,000 or something.
Yeah,
where it's like, okay, so it's free.
Yeah.
So I can use it for free because nothing.
Unless you become like an indie darling, but then
Yeah, then they take like a percentage.
But by the point Epic starts taking a cut, you're like, yeah, fine, have it. Like,
I wouldn't have got here without the engine anyway. So
yeah.
That was that one, and there was one more, which was Elden Ring's publisher wants to work with author Brandon Sanderson, and he has a Soulsborne pitch.
Brandon Sanderson is what was it? I can't remember.
Wheel of Time.
Wheel of Time, yeah.
He took that over, and he did the Mistborn series. I read one of those too.
It's got Born in the name. He's already halfway there.
Jesus Christ! I think it's really gone.
I was gonna say, I think this is just in case George R.R. Martin doesn't do the final game, and they need to like be like, oh, we're not having this being Game of Thrones. We've got someone as a backup ready.
Well, I think it's weird that it's Elden Ring's publisher, so it's not FromSoft.
It's Bandai Namco.
Yeah,
it's
good old Bamco.
Just Bandai good old Bamco, which is like that's a very choice way to report that and how that's been spread about, right? Because everyone immediately jumps on the like, oh shit, Dark Souls plus Brandon Sanderson, great, good stuff. Oh, he makes fun worlds.
He's already talking to Miyazaki.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like, no, it's not quite.
It's basically it almost like you say, it sounds like someone got in an elevator with one of the people at Bandai Namco, and he's like, "Who would you want to do a Souls game with?" And he's like, "I don't know, Brandon Sanderson, pretty cool." Oh my god, new story.
He's at the back of he stood behind them all, like at the back of the elevator, just like, I've actually read a couple of Brandon Sanderson book. I keep wanting to say Branderson.
Sandon Branderson.
Sando Branderson. I've read a couple of his books, and I've always thought he writes books like it's a video game, and like he's big into like making a world and then all the rules in the world, and then he'll explain them all to you, like so almost like a tutorial, you know? I don't know. I don't know. I wonder if anyone listening has had that same. I imagine there's a very small, Venn diagram of people who have listened to this podcast and read Brandon Sanderson books.
Someone will be happy.
Yeah.
No, I think most of our listeners are illiterate, right? That's why they're listening to the podcast.
Wow, Steve.
It's a really good joke.
I'm sorry, I love you all.
Yeah, maybe you have to make sure you read all the headlines out of these news stories because they can't read them.
I really thought he was going for a serious point there.
No.
Left field from Steve.
Illiterate, right?
So hopefully Sam Brand Sunderden's Soulspawn pitch is really good.
Oh, that tickled me.
That's all the news for the week. That's sorry we rapid fired the last few, but it's getting on. We talk too much about Darth Vader and Kingdom Hearts.
And yeah, there's not really any good releases this week. There's on April 14th, there's a game called Road 96, which I've seen. I remember seeing the trailer for this, where it is you basically down a road and it's like so many different like.
I've recommended this to Josh. This is a fantastic game.
Okay.
Yeah, there's so many different like ways you can play it, and like different endings and stuff, and different like paths you take and whatnot. But it's basically all down one road.
Oh. Interesting.
So the big premise is like you are the character you play as is unimportant, and then once the story of that person is finished, you're now another person. But the people you interact with are the same people, and the more you interact with them, you never get the same story twice. You then get the next piece of their story.
You learn more about the characters.
But their story changes based on the decisions you made on your previous runs.
Oh, that's a cool idea.
Is this out somewhere already, or is it
Switch?
It's a Switch game. Okay.
It was a Switch game, and
coming out on
this. But this is. I recommended this to Josh because this was a great. This would have been a great commute game, which is one reason. But also, this is definitely the type of game I could see you just picking up, playing, finishing, and being like, "That was a good game."
I'll definitely look into this.
This might be on Steam now. Actually, I think it's coming into PlayStation 5 and Xbox. Sorry, I've got a weird new website for finding game releases.
Road 96. This came out in the 16th of August, 2021. So it's quite recent. Only almost a year old.
There you go. It's coming out on PlayStation and Xbox, though. That's why it's been separate. I will pay attention next week to what platform stuff.
So is that is that game that came out a year ago?
I thought this was only out on Switch. So
is this game that came out a year ago the only thing coming out this week, Steve?
Anything of note, really.
Also, I feel like August is not a year ago.
It's not far. It was 8 months. Almost. We're closer to a year ago than we were halfway. Fuck it. I'm botching this entirely.
Can I issue a retraction? I made a really good joke earlier when we were talking about Remedy doing a remaster, where I said, and Sean Astin plays every character, right? Yeah. I actually meant Sean Ashmore. I get those two mixed up all the time. Sean Astin is not gonna quit on you, Frodo. Sam. He's Samwise Gamgee. Sean Ashmore is the guy who's in every Remedy game. So apologies if people listening, if you jump down my throat on that one.
Now I get it.
Yeah, we are sorry to Sean Ashmore. If you want to come on the podcast and be a guest one day,
I'd like to formally apologise to both Sean Astin and Sean Ashmore.
You'll get atted by them on Twitter. Like, it's all right, man. Don't worry about it. Right, should we wrap this up? I think we're pretty much done here.
We should. I think we
just bring up.
I think we got anywhere to go from
this
there.
This big picture of Sean Ashmore.
Sean
Ashmore. Ashless. Who cares at this point? Thank you for listening, everybody. As always, I am BottlerWorks on everything relevant. You can find me on Twitch and Twitter. Let's do you next. We'll get your socials done.
I'm Olive_Meister with 2 R's on Twitter. You can find everything else from there.
And Stephen.
I'm QUIKWIX. That's Quikwix on everything, but mostly Twitch and Twitter.
And Sam.
I'm Sam, and please don't look for me.
You've got an OnlyFans now, right, Sam?
Oh yeah. Open that up.
It's popping off.
You can find him on that. Okay, we're done here. Bye, everybody.
See you later. Bye. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.